สวัสดีครับผมออสครับวันนี้นะครับผมได้รับเกียรตินะครับจากทาง Music Concept นะครับให้เข้ามาร่วมงานนะครับเป็นงานฉลอง 30 ปีของ Fender Custom Shop คือ Fender Custom Shop นี่เปิดมาตั้งแต่ปี 1987 นะครับจนปัจจุบันปี 2017 ก็ 30 ปีพอดีโอกาสดีกว่านั้นคือเราได้มีโอกาสสัมภาษณ์นะครับMaster Builder 2 ท่านนะครับซึ่งมาร่วมงานในวันนี้ด้วยท่านแรกก็คือคุณเจสันสมิธอีกท่านหนึ่งคือคุณพอลวอลเลอร์ Good to see you guys Good to see you
Good to see you
Good to see you
Thanks for having us
Yeah I would like to know like the background of you guys like how can you get into the Fender Custom Shop
Well I actually been there 23 years and basically I started as a packer in the custom shop packing guitars
Oh really
and it was I had moved back to California from Arizona and I was living on my friend's floor and my dad who was working for Fender at that time called me and said they're hiring at Fender if you're still looking for a job go down but I'm not helping you it's like you are on your own so I got a job as a packer packing guitars did that for about 6 months decided that it wasn't really what I wanted to do and what I'd do is I'd pack the guitars as fast as I could so I could go help out in other areas in the shop
So you know at that time that you want to build a guitar
I knew at that time that I wanted to learn more about the process of building guitars I didn't know that I wanted to be a master builder per se but I knew that I wanted to be able to work on and fix my personal stuff
Okay
and from there it's I worked in the mill I worked in the pickup department I worked in paint worked in assembly and then I apprenticed for John English for 5 years and then when he passed away I kind of moved in to fill his void in the shop
So actually like custom shop department is kind of your second like playground because your dad was working
my dad
Smith, right
yeah my
but
dad,
he's in the R&D department
he was in R&D and actually at that time he was in marketing yeah and he was still living in Scottsdale
Okay
and yeah and what happened was I had gone down to interview for a job on the regular production line
Okay
and while I was in the interviewing process John Page walked by and I've known John since I was probably 5 years old and he saw me in there and said whoa what are you doing here I said I'm applying for a job on the line He said, you're not applying for a job on the line. He goes, you belong in the custom shop.
Oh.
So I have an opening. It's packing guitars. You're not going to like it, but it'll get you a start. So I said, okay, cool, I'll take it. And the rest of it's history.
Okay. So how about you, Paul?
I built my first guitar when I was 14.
14?
Yeah, in high school.
That's kind of young. Right?
Yeah, and I grew up woodworking in the garage with my dad, so machinery and making stuff was kind of already something I did. So when the opportunity came up to do that in high school and you know kind of use it as a passing grade, I thought, that's an easy A. And through the process, I learned a lot, and I had to study on my own. There was no this is pre-internet. So I had to go to the library and get books and do research to figure out how to do this on my own. And somehow, worked my way through it. And I thought, man, this was a lot of fun. I want to do this for a living. My parents were like, no, you're going to school. Yeah, you're not going to be a loser. So here I am. Now I'm a loser. I make guitars.
You're an apprentice of Bob, I mean.
Yeah, it was funny because the book from there was only 2 books to check out at the library. And the book that I chose was the one that Bob wrote.
Whoa.
And it goes through his days working with D'Acquisto.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, D'Angelico. And so there's pictures of Bob with his shirt off making guitars in this like basement workshop in New York. And then I started working at Fender in 2003 and I had to do my probation period. It's like 6 or 3 months.
Okay.
I worked on the line testing guitars, and I had already had some experience in the industry. So they said, well, do your 3 months, and then we'll bring you into the custom shop. So some of the first days in the custom shop were working with Bob.
Okay.
And so for me, it was like, here I am working at Fender, and then Bob comes in, and I'm working on his guitars, and it's the book that I read that kind of started
It's
this
like
whole
a Disney. It's like a dream comes true.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I had arrived, so to speak. I'm where I need to be. I'm home. I felt home.
Okay.
So
Okay, let's just talk about guitars. The first thing I want to talk about is now the tone wood.
Okay.
So, like majority, like 99.9% of Fender, you use like alder,
And Ash.
ash. Okay, let's say maple for the neck, and rosewood for fingerboard. Let's talk a little bit about those tone wood. I mean, like tonal
Sure.
characteristic. I mean,
Sure.
yes, yeah.
Well, alder is actually my favorite. It's a very flat, responsive wood EQ wise. So I'm a bass player, and what I've found is having a P bass with an alder body, it actually sits well in the mix with a band because there's not a lot of really low lows and there's not a lot of really high highs. It's very flat. It's a flat, responsive wood EQ wise. Where ash is a little more responsive. It's a trickier wood because every piece sounds completely different.
Oh, really?
Where, some ash I've used is really bright, and then there's other ash that's really boomy and bassy, and you never really know which way it's going to go until it's done.
Okay.
There's not. I mean, you can. We've tried to go through and judge it by weight. Is heavier stuff bassier, is the lighter stuff brighter, and it's tricky because there's lightweight stuff I've used that's really bright, and then there's lightweight stuff I've used that's really bassy. So the one it's a less consistent wood as far as tone. But I mean, if you're looking for that true Fender sound, then it's either ash or alder, because that's historically what we've always used. When you stray away into more exotic woods, then you kind of start losing that inherent Fender tone.
So is there any difference between like the hard ash or like the swamp ash?
The swamp ash that I've ever used is typically heavier, and tone wise, like I said, it's from piece to
unpredictable.
piece.
Yeah.
It's just an unpredictable wood. With alder, it seems to be a lot more of a balanced wood from piece to piece, from a lightweight to a heavier weight. The tone doesn't seem to change quite as much.
Okay. So how about maple and rosewood that we use for fingerboard?
I personally like maple. I like one-piece maple necks. I do enjoy building tellies, so I tend to use a lot more ash and maple. But my favorite combination is actually a Strat with an ash body and a rosewood neck.
All rosewood neck?
Not all rosewood, just
Like that's a fingerboard.
yeah, because
Okay.
normally we would use traditionally we would use ash on the 50s Strats, which would come with a one-piece neck, and then as they went to rosewood fingerboards, alder was the dominating choice. So you don't find very many vintage guitars that have that combination. So so I like the ash Strats with a rosewood fingerboard neck.
That's your preference?
That's yeah.
Right.
When I'm on Strats.
On Strats?
On Strats, yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna have like another question talking about your like how can I say the tone wood combo that the guy like most, but later on.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna talk about would it be wrong if I say that like every piece of wood, every slab of wood, even they come from the same tree, it's like have they how can I say it's like very unique in sound,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Every piece. I mean, it could be from the same tree, and every piece is going to sound different. Every piece is going to machine different. And it's not just the wood that actually adds to the tone. It's kind of the sum of all of the parts. So, I mean, you can take a neck from one guitar and put it on a different guitar, and it's going to make it sound different. So, I mean, from piece to piece, from the same tree, there's always a variation, and I think a lot of it, tone-wise, on a completed guitar, has to do with just the overall build and all of the parts that are on it. I mean, even if you do a guitar with the same specs, same parts and everything, they always feel and sound a little
different. Right. So it's like a human being, right?
Oh, yeah.
They are unique.
Yes.
Right.
Very.
Okay. So I would like to talk more about like which parts of the guitar that affect the tone mostly.
Oh boy.
We're not talking
where do I
about,
begin?
we're not talking about pickups.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I had said, it's every piece kind of brings its own sound. I mean, even down to what kind of material all of the hardware is made out of. I mean,
the alloy stuff like that.
Yeah, if you have a die-cast bridge,
okay,
it's gonna be more mid-range tones. You lose all of the highs, you lose a lot of the lows. When you have a Strat bridge that's all steel, you know, it's brighter than a Strat bridge with a brass block. So overall, it's a difference of all of the parts on it. There's not one part that really adds to the tone. You know,
Even that Strat right there has an aluminum pickguard on it. That changes the sound of the Strat.
Really?
Yeah. And no one thinks about the pickguard, but
the aluminum actually changes the inductance on the pickups.
Okay.
So it'll brighten it up a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my new experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have one available for you.
Well, it's like on
There's four in front.
on a bass. On a vintage bass, the steel bridge and pickup covers, when you put those on, that'll change the inductance in the pickups.
Okay.
And that wasn't the reason behind it. It just happened to be that it actually affected it. You know, the reason behind those was to basically hide the look of the bridge in the pickups, because Leo thought it actually looked ugly. Yeah.
So now we talk about pickups. Like Abby, she retired like in 2013, right? Which is like now, so 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
But now, like Josefina, she took over the pickup winding things. How can you tell me more about like her work?
Yeah. How long did Josefina apprentice
I think
with Abby?
2.5 or 3 years.
Well, she worked with her before we brought her back. It had to be almost 10 years.
Oh.
Because she
that's right.
worked with her before. So Josefina was actually Abby's apprentice.
Right.
And so she learned how to wind exactly the same way Abby does. But she always puts a little bit of her own touch in it now.
Okay.
She'll have ideas to try stuff with different amount of turns or a different gauge wire, or a different magnet spec or size. And you know, she's much the same as us, where she's a master of pickups. And she's constantly searching for new ideas and new tones, and then she'll pass those along to us to try out. So she's a very talented woman with a lot of patience. Takes a lot of patience to wind a pickup.
Right.
It takes somebody with a light touch.
It takes like quite a long time to wind a single pickup, right?
Yeah.
It's like anything. There's a learning curve, and as you get better at it, you get faster. But
All right.
I'm like a a bowl in a China store when I'm trying to wind a pickup, and I'm
the
always
same
breaking
way.
things. And,
The thin copper wire,
It's-
right?
it's
That's
tough
really
to
thin.
do.
It's like a
Delicate.
hair size,
Yeah.
right? The diameter is like a human hair.
Yeah.
Right.
But you'll walk by her area and she's got the music on and she's singing along and winding pickups and she makes it look easy. She makes it look so easy.
Actually, it's not.
easy, and it's nowhere near easy.
Okay. Well, now we come to the question. Like, what's your favorite tone wood combo?
Well,
I already-
Yeah,
I already
Strat
talked
is
about
like ash and
Yeah, I love. I do love a lot of the early Telly stuff, so I end up doing a lot of one-piece maple and ash. I like to put one-piece maple on alder as well, just because I just love maple. And then my Strat, my favorite is the ash and rosewood.
how about you, Jason?
For a P bass, I really like an alder body maple neck with a flat lamb rosewood board. Strats typically all alder, also with a slab rosewood. The tellies I tend to go more towards an ash body with a one piece maple neck. I've done a lot of stuff recently with pine.
With pine.
Yeah, with a lot of reclaimed pine, and that sounds great.
It's a prototype, right? When Leo
The original prototypes for the telly were done in pine. And also the original 51P bass prototype was done in pine.
in pine too.
And tone wise, it's very similar to alder, except it's softer and it's lighter.
Lighter,
weight, and
yes.
yeah, so that's probably the reason why he switched to an actual harder wood like ash. But pine's fun because it's you can find a lot of reclaimed pine now with all the nail holes in it, and the bullet holes and stuff, and it gives it a different look. But yeah, tone. I mean, I primarily play a P bass, so alder with a maple neck, rosewood board is actually my favorite. We've been doing a lot of roasted woods now, and on the bodies with roasted ash or alder that's roasted. I'm finding that I really like the way the roasted body woods sound. They react more like a vintage guitar. They're a little more resonant. They're a little more of a fast response on all of your picking and stuff, and they have a different sound than just your standard ash or alder. So I've actually been working a lot with those.
So they just put like the ash and alder in a kiln,
Yeah,
right? In a controlled like temperature
Yeah, to
and
control
time.
temperature and time, and depending on what temperature you use and how long it's in there will actually determine how dry it is. And the drier it gets, the darker it gets as well. But then we've also found that the darker you use it, the more brittle it is too. So, it's we're still kind of in the experimental phase with a lot of that.
Okay, and it's stiffer too. When you put it in the kiln.
Some of it dries out. So there's no. So all of the moisture content is way less than roasted board, but it also compresses the cellular structure in the wood.
In the wood.
Yeah. So because even though our body spreads and neck blanks are dried, there's still a tiny bit of moisture. There's still oxygen in the wood. When you roast it, it crystallizes all of those cells and it compresses them. So that's why it makes it more responsive and tonally closer to a guitar that was built in the 50s or the 60s.
Oh, it's nice. It's so nice because I heard that there's a lot of like guitar maker companies that tend to use like roasted swan ash for body, like roasted alder. Let's say like Johnson now he's right. He's been using it.
Right.
He's been using it. And okay, last question. If I want one master build guitar, where should I start? What should I do?
You should contact your local dealer, and they can walk you through the process of actually ordering a guitar.
And basically, I can do like, do I have to come up with an idea or like anything, just anything in my imagination?
We can build you whatever you want, but there are times where we'll get requests that are so far removed from what a Fender is, it's just not a good idea.
Okay.
Because we don't. I mean, we still.
So within limits.
We still have a heritage to uphold. I mean, we don't want to make a Fender Flying V.
Okay.
Because it's just not a Fender guitar.
Right.
But yeah, within. You still want to uphold the heritage of what the brand is, what the company is, and still keep it in the realm of what a Fender guitar is.
So who's who's the busiest guys in the team?
I don't know.
John?
That 8 of us are all pretty
busy.
Busy.
Yeah, if you call Googling your name busy.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Jason. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
โอเคครับก็เป็นการพูดคุยกันสั้นๆนะครับเกี่ยวกับเรื่องไม้เรื่องการทำของคุณเจสันสมิธนะครับแล้วก็คุณพอลวอลเลอร์ก็วันนี้ใกล้งานละใกล้เวลาที่งานจะเปิดแล้วผมอาจจะต้องขอตัวก่อนนะครับแล้วเทปหน้าคอยดูว่ากีตาร์ไทยจะเอาอะไรมานำเสนอผู้ชมทุกท่านนะครับวันนี้ผมคุณพอลและคุณเจสันขอลาไปก่อนสวัสดีครับ